All right, music fans, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you right there and just like me right here. You know, I was on the front lines in the old days when I was just getting into college radio, trying to get people to listen to Huey Lewis's first album, the self-titled debut album, where the band members do kind of like this on the album cover. And they were kind of like trying to be all new wave-ish, but they really were kind of like this, call it punk R&B band. And most of the tunes, especially if you listen to them now, all come off as just real good rock and R&B stuff, much like all of the Huey catalog. But it's really interesting to look back and see some of these things that happened. The whole Ray Parker Jr. Huey Lewis debacle, where Huey Lewis at one point was asked, hey, you guys are really hot right now. Would you like to be in this new movie that we're doing called Ghostbusters? And Huey said, nah, sounds too campy and silly and just it's not our thing. Of course, later on, Huey would be at least part of Back to the Future, which I think was a good choice and a great song, The Power of Love. But they wanted I Want a New Drug to be in this movie, or a song that sounded like that. And a song that does sound like that did get into the movie. And that tune, of course, is Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr. Now, I'm a big Ray Parker Jr. fan, so this is kind of tough for me. The Other Woman, I mean, his early 80s stuff to me is just so cool. His stuff with radio. The dude can play a guitar, too. He's really got some good chops. And even today, I see him out there touring and playing his catalog, and he looks and sounds great. He's aged well. He looks completely different now. It's almost like he looks like a different guy, but he doesn't look like a different old guy. He just looks like a different guy now. So it's kind of cool. Whereas Huey, he's kind of aged and he's looking a little long in the tooth, and this stuff here is happening to him. I love Huey, though. He's just a great guy, great performer, and I would go see him in a heartbeat if someone wants to get me some tickets. But getting back to the whole debacle with Ghostbusters, of course, a lawsuit was filed because Ghostbusters more or less sounds like a speeded up version of I Want a New Drug. And I never knew this until years later, but I didn't know the part about how Huey was asked to do this movie, and then he turned it down, and then they came out with this song that sounded like a Huey song. So these guys had their sights really set on Huey Lewis, so much so that they'd copy and imitate him. Just kind of a weird thing to think back. But the lawsuit was settled out of court. I imagine that Huey made out okay. I think he probably got something like an 80-20 deal. I think that's probably what he got. And even though Ray Parker Jr. does not like to talk about it, and he kind of likes to sort of say, hey, this wasn't my fault, and this was just a coincidence, and I didn't do anything wrong. The part of the story where it falls apart is the part where they had asked Huey first, and Huey said no. And I'm sure Huey wasn't just looking to see what they were going to do as a song and think that they were going to just rip him off because he decided that he didn't want to do it. I'm sure one of the boys in the band heard it and said, holy crap, Batman, it's our song but faster. And that's how the whole lawsuit came to be. But I think it's pretty cool to look back on all these things that happened in the 80s. Ghostbusters, a great song. Even if it is a bit of a parody of I Want a New Drug, it is still a great song, as is I Want a New Drug. Both artists are great, and I wish them both well, even today. So that's my quick little video. Huey Lewis in the news gets spooked by Ray Parker Jr. Oh, such bad puns there. I'm sorry, folks. I'll be back soon. Talk to you then.